G'day once again. This is just a very short presentation to try and get people to see the difference between what we were brought up knowing words to be and what the words actually mean. So I thought I'd try and get people up to speed with just simple words like money, because all our life we've thought it was those things that are floating in the background there. So let's dive into it. And this comes from Bovier's online law dictionary. Money, gold, silver, and some other less precious metals have become the common standard of value. Okay, so it tells you in the first line there, gold, silver, and some other less precious metals. Governments of the civilized world have caused them to be manufactured in certain portions. Okay, that's the weight of something, and marked with a stamp which attests their value. This is called money. Nothing else. Money is coins. Very simply put. But as you'll find with the rest of this presentation, that it's certainly we've certainly been fooled into believing that it is other things. And hopefully, once you know the word of this, you can then challenge the people who are trying to get money from you or payment to ask them what it is. So let's look a little bit further. In our New Zealand Law Dictionary, which is Butterworth's, money, currency authorised as a medium of exchange by the laws of New Zealand. Now, they've brought another word into it, currency. So we'll have to have a look at that shortly. Butterworth's law dictionary, coin stamped metal, and issue of coins. See the Reserve Bank Act. Okay, so once again, they're sort of leading us down the path, but they've brought in a new word, which is currency. So we'll go a bit further. The Reserve Bank Act, section 25 to 30, issue of currency by bank. Now here's where the currency comes in, you see. The bank shall have the sole right to issue banknotes and coins in New Zealand. The bank shall determine the denomination, form, design, content, weight and composition of its banknotes and coins. Okay, so what you're seeing there is that the coins are still the money in the system, and I believe that this may change with when the reset happens. That we may go to another form. It may be we may go to gold-backed currency, but do it by credit cards. Not sure, but something will change. Okay. Now this bit here, the two sections 25 to 30. These are the two that make the most sense. 27, legal tender. They've brought in another new word. Every banknote issued or deemed to be issued under this Act shall be a legal tender for the amount expressed upon the note. But then, a tender of payment of money to the extent that it is made in coins. Okay, so they're telling you once again that money is coins, or deemed to be issued under this Act shall be a legal tender. Now here comes a really good part. In the case of coins of a denomination of $10 or more, for the payment of any amount. Now, you better read that again. In the case of coins of a denomination of $10 or more for the payment of any amount. We have only one $10 coin in New Zealand, and it is a gold coin. But reading that, it would appear that it will pay any amount. We'll move on. Into B, in the case of coins of a denomination of $1 or more, but less than $10, for the payment of any amount not exceeding $100. Okay, so if you've got a dollar coin, you can pay off 100 of those things there. Not sure what they are, but there's a S with a line through it and 100. We'll come to that later anyway. Okay, so I'll let you read the rest, but we'll move on. Currency, a unit of money in use in a country. See the definition of banknote in the Crimes Act. Oh, God, it's getting very involved, isn't it? They're trying to confuse us. So the Crimes Act 1961, Section 255, interpretation. For the purposes of this section and the other sections, banknote means any negotiable instrument used or intended for use as currency. Okay, now, what they're telling us there is currency is not money, it's a negotiable instrument. Now, negotiable instruments are pieces of paper, and since 1933, that is all we have had, apart from the coins, which they've steered us away from. The only thing that we have had is legal tender and currency, or negotiable instruments. Now, we quite often get notices of payment, so we better look at what that means. It means contracts, that which is given to execute what has been promised. Simple. That is it. You don't need to read any further, although if you go into Bovier's, this comes from Bovier's, you'll see that it's pages long. But if you read that first bit, that which is given to execute what has been promised. So if we know how to execute simply means sign, put our signature to it, what has been promised. If we know how to do what is promised, then the debt is set off, so there is no payment. It is set off, as opposed to having to take those things out of your wallet. Now, in the Wages Protection Act 1983, these are all New Zealand acts. I only do the study for New Zealand, but 2, interpretation. Money in relation to any wages means any New Zealand coin. Once again, they're telling us it's only a coin, or New Zealand banknotes, or a combination of both. Now, New Zealand banknotes, we'd have to go a long way to find what New Zealand banknotes are, but for this moment, what we need to see is that money is still coins, and that's where people are getting it wrong. Now, if you get the gist of this, you'll see as we get to the end how you can trip them up. Now, a new word as well, legal tender, was introduced there. The prescribed mode of payment within a jurisdiction at a particular time. The Reserve Bank of New Zealand Act 1989, Section 27.1, provides that every banknote issued or deemed to be issued under that act shall be a legal tender for the amount expressed in the note. Okay, so it's a legal tender. It's not money. It will be payment. Please note, legal tender, not lawful tender. Now, I've already done one on legal and lawful, and so you need to remember these things. The difference between legal and lawful. Legal is their system, lawful is the living. Whenever we receive a bill or demand, they always ask for payment. However, they never ask for a sum certain, and only ever ask for that sign there. There's an S with a 1 through it, which originally started off in America as a U and an S, a unit of silver. Then they took away the gold and silver standard, so they just took the bottom off the U and put 2 lines through it, and now it's ended up with 1 line and an S through it, but it certainly doesn't look like a D for dollar or anything like that. And they normally add some figures after it, which don't mean a thing actually. A sum certain is $1. Now, if you ever write a check, you will see that there is a place where you write the amount, because that is the sum certain, and then in a box. And when it's in a box, you should all know by now that when it's in a box, it doesn't appear on the page. That's where you put that funny little S and some figures after it. But if you fail to put the $1 on the write the $1, and I say write, W-R-I-T-E, write it, they will send the check back to you and ask you to fill it in. However, if you write $1 and fail to put the numbers in the box, they will fill that out for you, because that's not necessary. The $1 is a sum certain. Suggestion. Now, what I'm suggesting is that you start asking them, when they start asking or demanding payments, ask them, what is payment? Write to them. Ask them, what is payment? What do you want? How do you want us to pay? What is the difference between legal tender and lawful tender? Ask them these questions and never ever get caught out. Never ever mention the word dollar. If you're in court or anywhere else, never ever mention the word dollar. If you say, do you mean dollars? Bang, you're going to pay dollars. So whatever you set as the standard. So if ever they say we want payment, say, well, what are you after? Are you after cabbages? After your chickens? What are you after? They will never ever say dollars. They will say, we want payment, we want money. Okay, well, I know that money is coins. How many coins would you like? Would you like one gold coin, which pays any amount? Okay, just for you to try getting your head around this, and you will see that you will start to have success. Good luck out there.